I wanted to know, is there anyone here who has heard about the quietest place on earth? Well, there still exists something of that sort even today, but it's actually at an artificially made space at the headquarters of Microsoft in Washington, where they have been able to record the lowest ever sound level of minus 20.6 dBA, decibels. Yes, it's a negative number because sound is measured in reference to the human hearing scale. But the fact of the matter is that in this artificially created chamber, they achieved a Guinness World Record. When inside this room, you can actually hear your own heartbeat very clearly. You can notice the flow of blood in your veins, even notice the slight movement of bones in your body. Trust me, it's very scary to be inside. You can't remain there for a longer period. Now, having said that, any ideas about the noisiest space on earth? I'm sure you can make out from the photograph I'm putting up on the screen, the city of Mumbai. This got featured as an article in the newspaper Mumbai Mirror as the noisiest city, and I'm sure you can relate to this day in and day out. Yeah? But the fact of the matter is that this is not an accolade that we must be proud of. It goes on to specify that the sounds we hear, the noises we receive, and the acoustic quality of built spaces around us is an important element. In fact, there are a lot of physical aspects of comfort which can bother us in many ways. For instance, what do you think would generally be the reason of nasal irritation, dryness, itchy eyes, headache, etc.? Could be related to the indoor air quality, maybe? Yeah. What do you think could generally be the problem of stiffness, backache, muscular stress, fatigue? Invariably, it is related to the ergonomics, the posture, the seating systems, right? Likewise, even bad acoustics also affects us in many ways, leading to problems like distractions, inability to focus, delays, errors, etc. Poor acoustics leads to a lot of other troublesome issues like stress, anxiety, and poor concentration as well. If you ever happen to be in a shopping mall on a weekend evening, the entire cacophony of sound around you directly starts impacting your best abilities. The waiting areas in a hospital, metro stations, building lobbies, or even enclosed, closed spaces, which are often acoustically not well treated, can lead to problems like echo issues, noisy spaces, and a confused state of mind. This is because the reverb effect in many of these spaces directly starts impacting efficient functioning of our brain, all right? Now, since I'm talking to you about sounds and perceptions today, I'm going to play some sound files here, and I want to know what kind of emotions do they bring out from you. Are you game for it? Okay, so let's hear the first one. What kind of perception does it have upon you? It is associated with a lot of anxiety, negativity. Maybe you don't like it. You're already wondering that something is wrong. Maybe somebody is getting admitted, and you just want it to stop, correct? Now, let's come to the second one, which is from a cricket stadium. This happens to be a very high decibel sound, and there are people who are cheering for Sachin, Sachin. I'm sure you enjoy it. You like the sound. You're not at all bothered with it. In fact, it brings out the right energy and enthusiasm. Am I right? Okay. Now for the third one, I want you to try and close your eyes. Don't worry, it's a well-lit room. Just close your eyes. And imagine you're trying to sneak into your bed late at night, and all you end up hearing is this. Mind well, this is a very low intensity sound, but still it has the potential to shake you up completely, and you just want it to stop anyhow again. All right? That's how sound works upon us. It can evoke very different emotions in different types of situations. After all, sound is what you actually hear inside your brain. Otherwise, it's just vibration of air molecules around you. And that is one of the reasons why it is said that only 25% of the effect upon us is related to the sound itself. The balance greater than 50% is more to do with our psychological response to it. All right? Have you heard about the benefits of chanting what is called as the sound of universe, the word called Om? This sound, when it is emitted at precisely 432 hertz, it has the power to drive out your worldly thoughts and remove distractions. Particularly in our country, it is regarded as one of the most soothing sounds, which has an enormous positive effect on our mind and body. There are a lot of scientific studies which can support that claim, and the entire research work around it is simply mind-boggling. All right? Now, I also know about some smart companies which work a lot with human psyche and the sounds around. My best example is one of the best car companies in the world, which actually works with a concept which is called as the 3 eyes. In a car, if you see, there are some sounds which are irritating, like the low frequency sound, the road noise, some sounds which are informing, like the starting of the engine or the central locking system, and some sounds which are impressing, like the closing of the doors or the engine sound itself. So what they do is they eliminate the irritating sounds, they emphasize on the ones which are informing, and really enhance or enlarge the impressing sounds. And there you get a luxury sedan or a car that is meticulously built for your comfort. Let's deliberate more on the indoor sound scenario. Is workplace acoustics an important element? What do you think? It is, because good acoustics, to an extent, facilitates better exchange of information. It can remove distractions and contribute to high productivity levels. All of this, in turn, can ensure better health and well-being for the users of the space, and the overall organizational performance can be really met. Also, the fact of the matter is, within a building now, we can react differently in different types of situations. As an example, let's hear if you have a bunch of introverts and you throw onto them a simple task, they're still okay to perform in a quieter space, but maybe not that great when it's a noisy environment. When it's a complex situation to them, they can still probably do well in a quieter zone, definitely not when it's a louder ambience. Let's check with the extroverts. A simple task to them probably is not that good when it's a very quiet space. In a noisy environment, they might still be able to do justice to it. But even for them, when it's a complex situation, they're not the great performers in both cases. So this goes on to specify the fact that for most of us in this room, noisy conditions are not going to be our best bets. And that is one of the strongest reasons why focus on the interiors and the acoustic quality of built spaces is very, very important. This is also perfectly explained with the law of Yerkes and Dodson. So if you have a simple task at hand, with the increasing arousal levels, the quality of performance also goes on increasing, and then it dips at a certain point. But if you have a complex task at hand, in fact, the performance peaks quite early, and in fact, at mid-arousal levels, it starts dipping down as well. So that is one of the strongest reasons why we need to focus more on the acoustics around our built spaces. Now I'm going to play a small video, which is created by Open University and Renegade co-production. It can help you understand how sound affects us when it is measured through brain waves and sensory signals. Let's hear it out.
I've got a deadline. I must write a newspaper column, and I must do it now. This headwear isn't my thinking hat. It's an EEG cap. And while I get down to some work, Jack wants to see how good my brain is at coping with everyday distractions in an open plan office.
Hi there, Tom. It's Gabby.
Green and blue colours denote quite low levels of activity. It basically means he's thinking and he's not distracted. Whenever external stimuli are being processed by the brain, distracting him from what he's doing, that's when you get these bands of red. So there's a conversation going on over here, even though he's probably not really aware that it's there. You can see the responses in the brain nonetheless.
Ah, right. It's quietened down a bit. Maybe I can get some work done now. Hang on. Who are this lot? Looks like Dr. Jack's invited some friends along.
Sorry, is everyone else okay with that? Because I'm really not okay with what we were just told. I'm not saying late. No way.
So, well, you're going to talk to Darren now?
No, I'm saying we all should. We all should.
Because it's an emotional subject matter, it's impossible not to react to it.
Go to the pub and arrange a meeting.
Pub. Watch what happens when someone actually physically jolts him. Okay, watch this. You see that? No amount of mental effort will enable you to block that out.
Anyone seen the key to my desk?
Can you check those? We've got them.
Oh, did you see the response to the keys? I think they're driving him mad.
Very interesting, isn't it? Now, if this video really fascinates you, you can actually watch more of it on the internet. This case example was more of an open plan office design. Now, in different types of spaces, again, our reactions could be really different. Imagine if you are in an office canteen, for example, in the peak lunch hour period. There is something into play which is called as the Lombard Effect. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but what it means is when you have to communicate to somebody when you're dining, you need to generally be, as a thumb rule, 10 decibels higher than the background noise. So continuously, people start adding more sound energy within that space. And it goes on increasing till about, say, 2 p.m. or so, and then it starts dipping down. Reverse is the story, which is called as a library effect. And I'm sure you've witnessed that as well. Imagine yourself when you are talking over phone, just outside the library in a common lobby space. You're generally at a louder voice, your own general voice. And as soon as you enter and step inside the library, you lower down your tone because the environment and the ambience around you doesn't allow you to be louder anymore. That's how our psychology works. So, what I'm trying to say is what we hear drastically affects us. It affects our mindset, it affects our stress levels, it affects our productivity, even our economic outcomes. So why leave it to chance? This small but significant realization can really improve our performance and well-being. And I think we must be more conscious now about sounds and perceptions. So if biologically our ear cannot adjust to the acoustic surroundings around us, the environment then has to be adapted to suit our best hearing possibilities. There are various ways and techniques for you to mitigate some of these really noisy conditions and acoustic challenges. We can start looking at using what we call as the room acoustic calculator, which can give you predictions of the room's behavior and performance in different acoustic parameters. Or you can try simulation exercises to again predict what could be the result when somebody is occupying a new space. Or if required, we can also use analytical tools like the psychoacoustic study, which also helps you determine what are the needs and intrinsic requirements of the users of a space before you start planning and designing for the new office, for example. At least initially to begin with, I think we can start looking at two things. First, better human behavior and etiquettes, which is quite simple, but yet difficult to adhere to. How many times are we really conscious about toning down our desk phone in an office when we go for breaks or go to canteen and come back? How many times are we really conscious about how loud are we speaking in a hospital building? So that's the first part. The second aspect is we must try and demand better acoustic conditions, better acoustic treatment for the places that we work in. Materials and surfaces which can absorb the unwanted sound energy is really required today. So I'm going to summarize my talk with a small clip. So we must remember that our hearing mechanism is one such organ which is on 24/7. And the understanding of the human perceptions of sound is quite critical for our future. This is the butterfly effect that I was referring to. It's a tiny thought that can change and shift the output and results for all of us quite significantly. And I rest my case. Thank you.